Are we feeling cozy? Are we all together now in fall? I am in a sweater and my bandana. Welcome, welcome. My name is Diana Chu here at Slow Gaze. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm on an old broadcast or something. Just this weekend I hit 300 subscribers here on YouTube, and that has been mind-blowing. I just started doing this on a whim. I felt this need rising in me to start a project and express myself, and I've always been the behind the scenes kind of gal. Theater productions and things where I'm the costume designer, I'm the makeup artist, I am doing the hair and figuring out everybody else that should go on stage, and I've never sat and talked to a camera before, so starting a YouTube channel was both otherworldly but also felt like such a push towards growth and towards creative expression that I couldn't ignore it anymore. So I wanted to take this time and just say thank you to you who are watching, who are supporting me. There's so much positive energy to this community that I didn't expect. I've gotten so many encouraging, kind words that have humbled me, and just the fact that my channel has grown so much over the past 2 or 3 months. I just started in July posting my first video. It was a makeup tutorial. I didn't know how to quite film things yet, wasn't sure about a lighting setup or how to use natural light. I had a voiceover, I had several cuts. It was like too much, too soon, but I was figuring it out, right? That was a watershed moment, and now every single video that I do, I get a little bit more savvy about how to talk to a camera so that it's easier for me in the future for my editing self to do the magic with. I've learned my tips and tricks, and I'm trying to figure out my setup, my vibe, my niche. So thank you so much for going on this journey with me. It really means so much as a creator to be vulnerable, to be connecting with people, even though I haven't gotten all my stuff together. I've just put things out there. I'm not here for the numbers, but behind every number there's a community. So I wanted to thank you for tuning in every single Wednesday. This is going to be a short video. I just wanted to make this sort of a milestone and a check-in. And for all of you who have clicked on this video, I'm just going to give you a couple more ideas for where this channel is going. I'm going to tell you some facts about myself that I haven't shared here on YouTube. I'm also going to share 3 book recommendations for minimalism, because if you are following my low-buy journey, and I will be posting a low-buy check-in very, very soon. My announcement can be found linked down below. But these are 3 books on minimalism, or the topic of culling your wardrobe and finding your own center, that I don't think have been lauded enough here on YouTube. This is not a self-help book that I'm gonna be telling you about. These are not titles that are written specifically for millennials. These are books that have helped fuel my journey of minimalism, so I'll share those in a second here. But yeah, most of all, I wanted to say thank you, and then share a little bit more so that if you are new here, there are so many new faces here, I wanted to welcome you into this little space, tell you what I'm all about, and go from there. So the 3 facts about me that I wanted to share, maybe 3 and a half. My name in Cantonese is Ju Hoi Tai, and in Mandarin it's Zhu Kai Di. Not perfect pronunciation.
Hopefully my mom isn't watching this.
But in Hong Kong, where my parents are basically from, and my extended family is, that's where my dad is still, we speak Cantonese, which is a dialect of Chinese. My last name translates roughly into the color vermilion, which is this vibrant but kind of burnt sienna-y orange. And then Kai Di, or Hoi Tai, that translates into rosebud and triumph. So not really exact translations, and they're kind of flipped. I guess that was my half fact. The other fact is that I lived in Hong Kong for 10 years. I was there from 1997 to 2018. So basically my most formative years. Had my awkward, super awkward, please don't pay me to go back years there. I went to British schools, so I actually don't feel like I completely assimilated to coming back to the States for college. I know that I kept my American accent, but a lot of my knowledge is very Euro-focused. I missed a lot of pop culture here that people from the 90s grew up with and understood references to. I came back and I was glad to be back, but my presentation is extremely Western, but also American Western, whereas my upbringing has been surprisingly skewed British. Over there, I was in the majority. I looked the way I should look. I was in the majority presentation-wise, but my experience back then was very American. So I feel like I never quite belonged there, never quite belonged here, and it has given me a lot of appreciation for people who find that their roots are a little bit more displaced, or they're trying to find where they belong. That's why starting this channel has been so formative for me. I'm finding my tribe outside of what I look like, my heritage. Instead, I'm finding people who share the same interests, values that I do. So thank you for being you. Brief intermission here from future Diana. I wanted to also introduce to you my Ko-fi page. If you have been enjoying my content and want to support me towards my goal of creating content full-time, I know it'll take time, but every single bit helps. My first goal is to buy a better camera. I have been recording all of my stuff basically on my iPhone 7, save for 2 videos that I'm trying out an old camera with. It does not have autofocus and I can't do exactly what I want with it, so that's kind of been ditched and I'm still on my phone. I'm all about using what I have already to the best effect, and it has gotten me this far. If you would like to help me up the quality of my videos and help my content be that much better, I would really appreciate you buying me a coffee. Link down below. I don't run ads on YouTube yet. I don't have any affiliate links. Basically, all the content I am creating for you is free. So if you'd like to give back to me, even just $3, which is about the same price as a coffee nowadays, you can do so down below. So that's my small interjection, my tiny plug. Thanks for listening. Second fact is that I do play musical instruments. Not very well. A visual artist first, but I really do enjoy music from afar. I love playing it when I can, but I have to read music. I can't just go for it and start a little melody on the piano, on the guitar, or on the drums. Reading music, like sheet music, is another language, right? So basically I know another language. All right, and number 3, I adore cooking. I mean, a lot of people do. I totally get it. I am much more the intuitive cook. The minute I see a recipe, I'll glance over it, check what kind of ingredients I can use, what oven temperature it needs to be at, and then just close the book and go for it. I don't love the restrictions of a recipe, even though they're scientifically proven to make the thing you're meant to make and do it well, have a repeat success each time. Like, I get why recipes are awesome, but I am not that person. I don't love baking particularly because of that. I love being able to jive, add a dash of spices here, figure out like the heating situation. Like, it's very dynamic in the kitchen when I cook. And finally, before I leave you, 3 books that have been fueling me during this pandemic, but also during this decluttering time, because I have been binging YouTube around things I only own 1 of, how to declutter effectively, how many pajamas do I actually need. I've been frying my brain with like 7 to 20-minute videos. A lot of them come from a white perspective. This is all from a very privileged place, and I also come from that place because choosing to be minimalist is voluntary. Choosing to own less and live with less is voluntary. Glad to be able to make this decision. People who maybe have less out of default find that these restrictions cannot be curated. They cannot be a luxurious experience. They're not meant to be philosophical. They're just realities. These books that I'm sharing also come from a very white space, but what I like about them is they also have a lot more side dialogue about finding yourself and who you are and what it means to know yourself fully. And that is a huge step in decluttering, because without that, it is basically meaningless. So if you're looking for that, I would start with Sara Berman's Closet, beautifully illustrated by Maira Kalman. Tells the story of this grandmother who obviously started off as a very young, independent woman. She immigrated to the US and then found herself in her older age living in an apartment that she could keep for herself for the very first time. It was kind of a renaissance moment for her. She found true understanding of what she wanted to do with her wardrobe, with how she wanted to live, and she eccentrically made the choice of downsizing, but to items that were only white. So if you're interested in seeing that, her wardrobe has actually toured all throughout the world as a museum exhibit. I don't know if it resides still at the Met in New York City. The second book is called The Art Spirit by Robert Henri. This is written in a series of letters and essays to students of his. He was an American painter in a very painterly loose style, like think Norman Rockwell, but a lot looser. He was known for his portraits with such simple strokes and a little bit of ambiguity. You still get the depth of expression and feeling from his paintings. So I think he was a great teacher. His pedagogical style really speaks to me. You can read it kind of in bits and bobs, so you don't have to read it from top to bottom. You can kind of sift through it almost like poetry, and they're just snippets of knowing yourself and having confidence and taking fear out of what you're doing, and it's just so wonderful for any type of artist and for any human being who feels like they have the art spirit inside of them. Finally, I do want to suggest Thoreau's Walden. This was written back in 1845. He was around my age, I think 30 years old. This was in Concord, Massachusetts, and he describes the process of building his own little hut. The same things that we would go through now on a YouTube channel, basically saying, how much did I spend on my materials? How much did I spend in a year for my food? And he describes everything that he's gone through in the 2 years that he's lived sort of in isolation. He was only a mile from his family home, and he had visitors, and there was a train track nearby. Links to civilization. Probably one of the most famous quotes is, "The masses of men live lives of quiet desperation." I'm paraphrasing. To the same end, we are now living in a technological and luxury-filled world, focusing so much on work. It's kind of like the OG Minimalist book. I'm sure there's so many more and a lot more philosophically sound, a lot more that have, you know, spiritual becomings. If Thoreau is not your thing, like, totally understand. I loved using that as a counterpoint to all of the YouTube that I've been watching on this minimalist journey subject. So give it a go. I hope that this has been a little nice chatty get together. Encourage you to slow down, gaze inwards, whatever that means for you. Right now it means for me to look at what I have, truly enjoy it, and maybe we can do a little bit of that all together. So cheers. Cheers to you, and I hope that you are having a wonderful morning, noon, night, happy hour, coffee hour, cozy bandana hour, wherever you are, and I will see you on my next video. Adios.
Take it slow. Don't get in your way. Keep it moving. At the pace of every weather, look within. And don't forget you are surrounded by the wind.